Fox News host Stuart Varney went on the warpath against the Fight for 15 minimum wage protesters. Check it out.
Fast food chains and nearly 20 airports joining in a nationwide protest for higher pay and the right to unionize. They're calling the day of disruption. Joining me now to, well, weigh in on this is Stuart Varney, the host of Varney and Company.
Dagan,
Hey,
are you familiar with the English expression, sheer bloody-mindedness?
No, but I love it.
You know
I
what
will
I'm
be
talking
using
about.
it all day. Yes, I do.
Look, I think that these days of, days of disruption or day of disruption, it amounts in some senses to just pure bloody-mindedness. You know you're going to hurt somebody, but you do it anyway, because that's what you do. This is really appalling. At 20 airports around the country, starting this morning, they're going to disrupt travel. At fast food restaurants across the country, they're going to try to disrupt operations. It's this fight for 15. Number one, when you disrupt people like that, you get no closer to your goal because you really annoy a whole bunch of people. Your cause goes down the tubes. And number two, a $15 per hour minimum wage is a job killer. It's an opportunity killer, and everybody knows it. And they're still going to go out there and do it. Sheer bloody-mindedness, and I detest it. Is that strong enough?
It was dumb enough, that I know for sure. So let's go through some of this absolute nonsense here. Well, finally, I was waiting for this day, and it finally happened. Somebody put minimum wage workers in their place. I mean, those people, they needed to be knocked down a few pegs, always living on their goddamn high horse. They have so much going for them. So thank you, Stuart Varney, for being so brave and courageous. You just get up there and say, you minimum wage workers. Pesky, greedy bastards. Because when it comes down to it, that's the argument. Oh, they're so greedy. They're minimum wage workers. Minimum wage workers. Okay. So one of my favorite lines is, quote, "You know you're going to hurt someone, but you do it anyway." So he's saying this about people protesting for a higher minimum wage. You know you're going to hurt somebody, but you're doing it anyway. Why are you doing it? Because it's bloody-mindedness. Sheer or pure bloody-mindedness, whatever the fuck he said. You know what that line reminds me more of? You know you're going to hurt somebody, but you do it anyway. Paying minimum wage. If you pay somebody minimum wage, you know you're going to hurt somebody, but you do it anyway. Because they can't fucking live on minimum wage. Nobody can live on minimum wage. It's not a living wage. So you basically have a situation where it's wage slavery, and you go, I don't care. I know I'm going to hurt them. I'm going to do it anyway. I know I'm going to make them reliant on government programs who probably still can't even make up the difference to make them live at the bare minimum threshold to live a decent life. But hey, whatever. I know I'm going to hurt them, but I'm going to do it anyway. So the people who pay the minimum wage, that applies to. But he's flipping it. These goddamn minimum wage workers, man. The things we let these guys get away with, they're on their high horse. They know they're going to hurt people, but they do it anyway. It's unbelievable how he flips everything. And then he goes, it's a job killer. It's a job killer. Now, look, I've spoken before about how my preferred minimum wage policy is a federal law which mandates a living wage in every state. And I might even boil that down even more to every county. So in other words, the minimum wage in New York under this system, in New York City under this system, might be $23 or $24 an hour because that's what you need to survive in New York. In Nebraska, rural Nebraska, it might be $11.33. So I would make it so that you actually have a living wage in each state or each county, and it's more nuanced, and that would avoid something like layoffs because it'd be more tailored to the specific region and what a living wage is in that region. So I hear the point of, you could lose some jobs if you do it. However, counterpoint, Australia has a higher minimum wage than $15 an hour, and they're doing just dandy. So you appear to just be incorrect, Stuart Varney. And furthermore, notice, no facts. That whole rant, scorn, anger, where are your facts? He doesn't have any facts. You want to know why? I was tweeting about this the other night. The minimum wage today is worth less than it was in the late 1960s. If it had just kept up with inflation from the late 1960s, it'd be over $10.50 an hour. If minimum wage kept pace with the earnings of the top 1%, it would be over $22 an hour. If minimum wage kept pace with worker productivity, it'd be over $21 an hour. So all these, when you look at the facts, it's clear that if anything, minimum wage workers are artificially underpaid. But he makes the argument of like, no, you want to pay them too much. You want to go do too much than what the market can bear. But that's not true. And also, at the end of the day, you're doing apologetics and you're rationalizing a system where people can work a full-time job and not make enough money to survive. That system does not self-justify, Stuart. The whole reason why we have an economic system is that it meets the needs of the people. Well, if that system is not meeting the economic needs of the people, and it's not, then that system doesn't even deserve to be the system. So, and also there's this idea, and you'll hear it from guys like Varney all the time of like, oh, just work harder. If you just work harder, you gotta work harder. Okay, so let's live in his hypothetical fantasy bullshit world where everybody wakes up tomorrow. Everybody on the planet, everybody in the country, everybody who these laws apply to, they say, you know what? I'm going to work my way up the ladder. I'm going to bust my ass. What would happen if everybody did that? Every single person. Not everybody could get the promotion. You still need people to do those jobs that the minimum wage workers are earning. So even in your ideal scenario, where everybody works hard and they try to get the promotion, not everybody can get the promotion. You're still going to need people to do those jobs. So then the question becomes, well, then what are we going to treat those people like, human beings? And are we going to be decent human beings and set up a system where those people have a living wage? Nobody's asking for them to have a mansion and a fucking yacht, just a living wage. Are we going to give them a living wage or are we not going to give them a living wage? His answer is, fuck them. Don't give them a living wage. They don't deserve it. Who cares about them? Work harder. Work harder. Job killer. Sheer bloody mindedness. How you're so callous. You're so callous for wanting a living wage. It's unbelievable. It's terrible. It's the worst thing ever. No, I believe the callous one is you, Stuart, and you've made that pretty clear.